Yeah. Yeah, no, what I don't understand is how in today's age, people still don't know how to make like 500k like every second, you know what I mean? Like there's so many ways you can do it. Crypto, drop shipping, e-commerce, like it's more easier now than ever. How are people still not doing it? No, I agree. And the thing that we need to realise is that there was actually a study that shows that water is basically life. Right. Think about it, mate. Like without it, we just die. Right? And also another thing, females, Right, so today we're looking at podcasts, except not really, because these don't even qualify as podcasts. Now, don't be alarmed by that intro. Today we're not looking at kind of podcast financy bros. That's not what we're doing today. That was just me making a point of how stupid podcasts are nowadays. The term podcast in today's age is a term that is passed around way too easily. Just because you have a camera and a microphone and recording a conversation that people have already had for hundreds of years does not make it a podcast. Or does it? Probably does now, because that's all that you need to do to label something as a podcast. Would anyone like to sign a petition where, by law, you need a license to start a podcast? Because I'll make one on Reddit if you want. Like, honestly, if I showed you this, does this look like a podcast? Or does this look like a still shot from like a school Zoom call? Now, I know I did say that podcasts would be done with Jimmy, but these literally do not qualify as podcasts. I'd rather not waste my friend's time. So I'm going to tackle this solo and just see what we learn in today's episode of what the flipping heck is the internet these days. One of the ones I found a few months ago is a podcast, calling it a podcast, irony, is an Instagram account called Open Minded Podcast. And I've seen a few clips from this account, and you do need to be open-minded to really take in what they're saying. Like, really open-minded. Like, open your mind physically. Like, just start tearing your skull apart. Like, just give yourself a lobotomy. That's how open-minded you need to be to understand what's going on in this podcast.
People who say they don't believe in God, I then ask them, well, do you have a version of you that you think you could be? And they say yes. And I say, does that person actually exist? And they say no. And I say, do you believe it's possible? And they say yes. And I say, well, there's no difference between that and God.
Okay, so there tends to be like a 4-part checklist that goes with these videos, alright? We've got piano background music, profound topic, spiritual subject, subtitles. Oh, I also forgot like just vague sweeping statement. Like just the point. No explanation. It's just a short clip. How are you supposed to gauge anything from just that one point? Also, what he said just doesn't make any sense. To people who don't believe in God, I asked them, is there a version of yourself you want to be? And they say yes. He says that person doesn't exist, but he's talking to them. And he says there's no difference between that and God. So God is just a person who is a version. God's a virgin. God's a virgin. I also need to add that calling your podcast the Open Minded Podcast is a huge just fail-safe, really, because if someone questions you, you can just say, well, maybe you should work on being more open-minded. I think people have confused being open-minded with being accepting of everything and not questioning anything. Someone just comes along with just the completely most weird statement ever. Like, have you noticed that dogs are actually humans with fur? First of all, if someone's an atheist, you shouldn't try to convert them to believing in God. And if someone believes in God, you shouldn't just automatically try and convert them to not believing in God. I don't know why that is even a thing. But that is a terrible argument, because with that logic, unicorns exist. His argument is essentially you can just believe anything into existence, like unicorns and fairies and dragons. This is random, but does it also baffle you that unicorns don't exist, but giraffes exist? Like, you can take a giraffe with like a 3-meter long neck, like a big horse, with a 3-meter long neck that goes directly upwards, but a horse with a horn coming out of its head just doesn't exist. Isn't that weird? That is weird. Or an elephant. Elephant which just has a long, flaccid cock coming out of its face. Right? That exists, but a flying lizard, a dragon, doesn't. But you don't think that's weird? What, you think I'm wrong? Okay, well, you're not open-minded. So, die. Someone even commented, huge difference, my dude. I'm not an atheist, but that is a horrible argument, man. And then he just replied saying, you're not being open-minded. Being open-minded doesn't just allow you to just say things without consequences. If you think about it, guys, dog backwards is God.
Yeah.
So if I just turned my dog backwards, or just turned him inside out, maybe that's what... Sorry? What? You think that's horrible and animal cruelty?
Yeah.
Ah, fucking open your mind.
And I say, does that person actually exist? And they say no. And I say, do you believe it's possible? And they...
Also, there is nobody here, man. Who are you talking to? This isn't a podcast. You're just thinking out loud and putting it on the internet. That's literally all this is.
Believe that when I give you a £5 note, that equals £5, right? But that's just a bit of paper with some green ink on it with someone's face.
That could be anything.
Whoa. Fucking what? Right, like this video if you thought of that when you were like 8 years old.
So we've all decided to believe that when I give you a £5 note, that equals £5, right?
Yes, currency, yes, that tends to be how that works.
But that's yet a bit of paper with some green ink on it with someone's face. That could be anything.
What do you mean that could be anything? Like, what does that mean? You just described what it was and then said that could be anything. You've just unsaid what you just said. I mean, yeah, that could be anything. It literally could be anything. One of those things could be a fucking £5 note. It could be. Do you know what I mean? Why is there something so triggering about someone just putting a point out, but no explanation or analysis, right? Do you remember, like, in English literature when you had to write, like, PEE paragraphs? Right, that is just a point. That is 2 marks at best, my friend. You have not covered anything else. You've just said, oh, you know what? £5 note could be anything. Yeah, let that sink in. Also, unicorns exist. What? You think I'm an idiot? Oh, you're just not being open-minded then. Is money real? Yes. Guy discovers currency. Look deeper. Look deeper at my... You know, man, you really remind me of a younger version of myself. Sorry, was looking up people's asses something you did when you were younger? I mean, I'm not a scientist, but that has seemed to have had some sort of terrible effect on the way you think. We're just inhaling farts all day, and then your brain's just rotted away. I hate to break this to you, man, but most people get to this thought by like 8 or 9. That's not what literature suggests. I'm beginning to think this is just rage bait. Are we all being baited? Is everything just bait these days? There's nothing genuine. How often do I look at stuff on this channel and just be like, is this real? It can't be real. Is this real? What if I called you pee-pee poo-poo pants? And how would you react, Mr. Open-Minded Podcast? I'm 14 and this is deep. Are you going to listen to the full episode? Probs not, mate.
You can't argue that a cat is moral, because the cat doesn't really have a concept of good and evil. A house cat will brutally murder a
Fuck me, what was with the jump scare at the end? I don't think a cat murdering a mouse is immoral. I think that's just instincts. Right, I'm going to keep this video interesting. Here is a challenge, right? We're going to watch this next clip, and I want you to stay focused on what he's saying for as long as you can before your mind starts to reject it. Okay? Because it will. If you can make the whole clip, which you probably won't, comment and let me know, and I'll buy you a brand new unicorn.
We don't live in the world, do we? Let's just be honest. I mean, the world...
No, we don't. We don't live in the world. We don't. Yeah. I feel him on that one. What are you on about, young man? What the fuck? Where do we... go on then.
We don't live in the world, do we? Let's just be honest. I mean, the world is a massive rock burning from the inside in an infinite universe. We don't live there. We live in our brain.
Right, subscribe to me if you didn't make it past the first sentence. We live in our brain, which is in our body, which is in the world. Oh, I'm giving myself a headache by watching this. God, this is painful.
Had a little chat with a policewoman. She was like, do you want a blanket? I was like, I'm not that cold, but can I lie on it and look at the stars? And then I said to her, you can lie down and join me if you want. But she said, if I wasn't working, I would. I was like, that don't matter. The RAC aren't going to arrive for an hour.
What the fuck is going on? What is going on? This is an AI-generated story. What is happening?
And then I said to her, you can lie down and join me if you want. But she said, if I wasn't working, I would. I was like, that don't matter. The RAC aren't going to arrive for an hour. I won't tell anyone.
I won't tell anyone. I'm just going to put it on the internet where it's there forever and open to everyone. I'll only just put it in a podcast on a clip and put it on Instagram and tell everyone. It's alright, don't worry. One of my favourite things that never happened. Try looking a little deeper into this clip. I think you'd be surprised. I think... Is his comment section just operated by bots? How can you reply to someone saying, yeah, that never happened though, and just think, just look at it a bit deeper, mate. Just look at it a bit deeper. Or is this a massive metaphor?
No one wants to be Cristiano Ronaldo.
What? I can almost bet that 25% of the world's population would like to be Cristiano Ronaldo. Where are you going with this? Cristiano Ronaldo's a unicorn. Or he doesn't exist. Or he lives in his brain. What is this?
You want to be, but no. I'm alright, thanks. I'm happy that I'm at a point where I found a sport where I can make a living, but it's not like as corrupt as, say, football is going to be.
What the fuck? You made like 4 different points. First of all, you said, no one wants to be Cristiano Ronaldo. You think you do, but I'm actually alright. So you don't want to be Cristiano Ronaldo. That's fine, but why have you started this by saying no one? You're not everyone. Oh, you know what? Maybe just 1 sec. I'm just going to try and be a bit more open-minded with this. So he's in a wheelchair and he plays wheelchair basketball. Great. And he's saying the reason why is because wheelchair basketball isn't as corrupt as football is, right? So those 3 things you made, the 3 statements you made don't make any sense with each other. I would rather be a wheelchair basketball pro than a footballer too, actually. Great post, Zach. Also, you can speak for yourself. I don't mind that. I think that's absolutely fine. But I'm going to have to say that I think most people would rather be a footballer than a wheelchair. Saying that no one wants to be Cristiano Ronaldo and everyone would rather be a wheelchair basketball pro is a you know, I can't guarantee that that's untrue. I don't know. But a pretty loaded statement nonetheless. Yeah. Right, now guys, if you thought that podcast was bad, take a look at this one.
If your man is not a morning person, all you have to...
Gee, there's so much going on, I'm going to have a seizure. Remember that checklist from the beginning of the video? Background music, check. Profound topic, I don't know, I didn't get that far. Additional media, as in it's not Subway Surfers this time, it's a basketball game. And subtitles, and a sound effect. Too much to focus on here. What do I focus on?
If your man is not a morning person, all you have to do is just be his alarm clock and give him head in the morning to wake him up. Do that every day, and your man is gonna turn into a morning person.
If your man is not a morning person, just suck his cock and then he will.
I kind of have like sleeping problems, so whenever I'm not able to fall asleep, I like to use a little baby soother to help me fall asleep faster, and it always helps. But I was spending the night at my man's house and I forgot it, and I'm not able to fall asleep. So I just asked him like, hey, can I fall asleep with your thing in my mouth? Like, I feel like I need to on something. And he told me he was cool with it. He was like, yeah, sure, like, go ahead.
What the fuck? Wait, what's a baby soother? Like a dummy? A pacifier? Oh God, get some help, woman. You know what, you need a session with the Open Minded podcast and it'll get right to the root of all those problems. I mean, sleeping with a pacifier in your mouth when you're a grown woman is not something that should be normalized. And then alternatively, when that's not an option, asking for a penis instead is also not good. Why don't you and the Open Minded podcast collab? I'd love to see that podcast. I like to fall asleep with penis in my mouth, right? But I don't know how I can just push this out to more people. And he's like, maybe you should just be a bit deeper with it. It's like, no, I'm trying. Oh, trust me, it's as deep as it can go. But I don't know. Right. I've got a headache from watching all of this, like a genuine headache. By the way, just reminding you to head over to the community tab and ask me questions for the Q&A we've got coming up, and join my subreddit, which I'm going to be posting as actively as possible on, so you can find that in the description for this video, and you can find it on the channel description. I'll be posting memes, announcements, suggestions. It'll be like an exclusive little thing, and it's obviously free, so it's exclusive, but it's also open to everyone. It's if you can actually be asked to join a subreddit. But do it, because I'm new to Reddit. I only really used it to solve the issue to an obscure problem, and only a guy from like 2014 on Reddit has been able to help. But that's the only thing that I used Reddit for then. But now I'm going to use it to talk to you guys and build a community. So yeah, check out my Reddit. Check out my last video if you haven't seen it already. And like and subscribe. And I'll see you with a video next week. So take care. Have a good week. And goodbye.